Welcome to Real Talk with Garrett and Laura. Today we're going to talk about how to make your offer stand out in this competitive market.
We will talk you through ways to make your offer look more attractive than others. This might include appealing to the sellers, waiving some contingencies, or even giving them your earnest money immediately.
And it's not what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear.
Yeah. The first thing we'll talk about is appealing to the sellers. So this one is the easiest to accept. It's gotten really trendy to write a letter. People call them a love letter. It's just basically telling them who you are and how great you are, and then hoping that they pick you. It's kind of like legal document dating, but it might help you, but that's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about appealing to specific things.
That's right. And the specific things that the seller might have in mind for what's most important to them. So even though we can write what we know about us and why pick us, it's our job as realtors to help articulate, here's what the seller actually wants, relate it back to the buyer, and then go from there.
Yeah, so this is where our job comes in. We will be in touch with the listing agent. We'll see really what's most important to the seller. Maybe the highest price isn't their priority. Maybe they're looking for a really clean sale and they want you to waive things instead. Maybe they didn't explicitly put it on the listing, but they're waiting for their house to close and it was a longer closing and they really would like a long rent back. Maybe it absolutely comes down to the dollar amount for them. And if that's the case, then let's have escalation amounts go in increments of 5,000 or 10,000 instead of just 1,000 more than that next best offer.
And that's where hiring us as your agent will most benefit you, is that we will do the work on the back end to help understand where the seller is coming from and how we can compete with other offers to give you the full picture so that you can make an informed and educated decision.
Yes, absolutely. So next we're actually going to talk about contingencies and waiving contingencies.
Yep, and waiving contingencies is where it gets tough for buyers who are not used to a market like this. So the biggest thing on the front end that Laura and I always do is to help everyone have a buyer consultation to go through stats in the overall market right now, the exact steps in order of operations on what will need to happen in order to get your offer accepted. And that just helps so that we've had the conversation before we start even looking, so that it's not to the point of, okay, now I found the house that I want, what do I need to do? And we're telling you to do all these different things that are very risky.
Yeah, so I'm going to talk about some of the common contingencies that we waive. So the first, actually the most common that is being waived, is the inspection contingency. So right now, most listings are including an inspection with their listing, or you can request it once you've shown the house. And this happened, and it became clear that this was necessary a couple years back when the market started to get competitive, because a way people were making their offers more competitive was that they were waiving the inspection contingency. Well, when this became a trend, people were booking time at these houses for long stretches in order to do pre-inspections to make sure they weren't, signing up for a big risk. And inspections are important, so we understand that. But as you can imagine, it was really tough for sellers and listing agents because people couldn't go show the house. So they just started to include them in advance.
And that started during COVID last year, of having the seller do the inspection ahead of time. And honestly, I much prefer that than doing the pre-inspection, paying a couple $100, being in the home for a few hours, feeling a connection to it, and then you end up you're one of 5 offers or one of 10 offers and you miss out on it. So I much prefer this, where the seller has already done the report. You can just look at it from home. Of course, it doesn't help when there's now a bunch of other people that want the house too and everything, and you're willing to write a competitive offer but still not get it. But I actually prefer the seller inspection done ahead of time, instead of going to do the pre-inspection with no chance of or no guarantee of getting the offer accepted anyway. So
yeah. And it's nice these are third-party inspectors too. So it's not like you have to feel that there's this huge risk. Of course, it's not your own inspector, and inspectors miss things sometimes, but it's still a great option.
And the other big contingency that people are waiving right now is the financing contingency. Now, this one is a lot riskier, and only do this if you're certain that nothing's going to change with your job, nothing crazy was going to happen in the next couple months, and that the loan will go through. But it's work done on the front end with your lender That has to be done in order to compete in this market. And the reason why people are waiving that right now is it gives the seller peace of mind that your offer won't fall through.
Yeah. And then, so then there's some creative uses of cash in regard to that. So if you're not waiving your financing because that's a risk you can't take, but you've offered a really high price, then you can also put money towards a low appraisal. So that shows them that you're not going to be trying to renegotiate the price if the bank comes back with a low appraisal.
Yep. And if you did waive the financing, a great move to then sweeten the offer is to immediately release the earnest money. The deal has to go through because you've already waived the inspection, you waived the financing, so there's no other really way out, and you already know you want the house. So this is just to give the seller a little bit more incentive if they're looking at a stack of 5 or 10 or 20 offers to say, wow, we know this person is going to go through because they're willing to give us 25 grand or 50 grand right away. And that's all money that is part of your down payment. It's not extra money on top. But sweetening the deal with release of earnest money is a great little thing to go with right now.
And you've already done all the risky things, so you have to follow through with this deal. So it's really not an added risk to have your earnest money go early.
And that's exactly right. So again, these are all things that may sound daunting or difficult. It's our job to help educate you on, and these are all ways that help you get your offer accepted in the market that we have going right now.
Yeah. So we hope that we can help you in this competitive market. We want to try to help you win that home.
Yep.
So keep tuning in for more tips.
Yep. So we know things are competitive, but we're here for you. We want to help you out. So give us a call, reach out to us.
See you next time.
All right. Bye.